oh good grief, what is it? Harvesting rice using a main combine. So if you're in America, you can just grab your John Deere 9X and draper and mow down your rice that way. That is actually a thing. I am not going to have enough lime to do this field. That's unfortunate. We're going to have to come back. But this is the field that's going to take most of it. Obviously there's not enough back there for a full trailer, and then the rest of this field was recently pH balanced, so should be fine. So yeah, today I'm going to start. Oh, look, we have crop. Hi, crop. I need to check for weeds in the canola field and that grass field. Oh, grass field, grasses don't get weeds, so we're not going to get weeds in the grass. Canola shouldn't have weeds. We ploughed that field, so no weeds after ploughing. But I will need to fertilise both of those, and they shouldn't need well, canola will need a ton of it. The grass field will just need a top off. Only needs about 40,000 or 40 litres per hectare, something like that. It's going to let me fill. Oh, this is... I did manage to press the right buttons. Should probably, do I want to? Yeah, we should probably top off the gas tank as well. There now. And I need to turn that way. And that's it. We are full. As I usually grope, when all I use this a lime spreader for, or when all I use a spreader for is to spread lime, I do prefer to have the big reel. In Farm Sim 19, the big reel only came with wide wheels, which I didn't view as a problem for me because I only ever used it to spread lime. This one can come with narrows or wides. So obviously you want narrows if you're spreading on fertilizer, but the thing is with solid fertilizer tends to go in when or before you plant, not when stuff is growing. Spray tends to go on when the plant is mature. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Yeah, as I said, we just overlap this quite heavily so that at least we get a decent coverage. Don't know what happened there. Can't remember. But, we'll fill in the gaps. And hopefully we will have some left over when we've done this. Obviously, what was it? We had about 20,000 in the tank, so actually less, but probably only got a few thousand in there now. What else do we have to do? So there's no other tasks to do today. So pretty much today is going to be liming, fertilizing, planting this field with barley. Hopefully that will work out okay. But that might take most of the time today. Obviously this field is going to need some weeding. I'm going to spin round, grab that little bit there, which may or may not get covered in. Yes, it does. Okay. I don't think this bit does. Nah. Okay, we finish off the field ahead of us. So we've still got 90% lime in this, which is fine. This field is not very tractor friendly. Oh yeah, the other thing on Farm Sim 25, one of the guys did point out that the tractor engine sounds are more appropriate to the amount of load the engine is pulling. So if you're just driving along a road, it's, you know, it's tick over, you know, tractor noise. If you hit a hill or you're hauling something really heavy and it's really having to work at it, the noise goes up, like it's an engine working. And then when you glide down a hill, all you can hear is the wind noise on the tractor cab. So sound improvements, graphic improvements, which I think they suggested were a thing. But one of the things they're touting is we're going to be on Giant's Engine 10. They have their own graphics engine, so they're not using Unity or oh, what's the other big one? Can't remember. So because they write their own graphics engine, they have to, they have to train all their programmers on how to use that as opposed to how to use Unreal was the other one, Unreal or Unity. I think most programmers who work in the business probably know how to code stuff for them. But when you start writing your own graphics engine, you have to train all the programmers you employ how to use it. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. It's how I got started as a computer programmer. My very first employer didn't only cared that primarily you had retail experience. So you'd worked in some form of retail store or warehouse, and you had experience on stock movement, stock replenishment, that type of thing. And that you had an aptitude for programming. So they didn't want to know that you could write computer programs or knew a computer programming language. They just tested you for sort of the ability to think your way out of a problem. And that's what they tested us all on. The ones that didn't score well in the aptitude test became systems operators, guys who load tapes and paper in printers and what have you. And people who did exceptionally well with the aptitude test became programmers. At which point they announced, this is the computer language we are using here. You'll probably never heard of it before, which was correct. But you've shown an aptitude for being able to program, and you have some programming education, even if it's just an O-level at school. And so we're willing to train you on this language because we can't find anybody cheap enough who'll do the job for us. So, you know, you're trainees, you get paid nothing. And they ran like that with their old mainframe programmers. They promoted a couple of them to project leads. And the rest of us were all trainees. And then they figured we probably need to employ some people with skills who actually have experience in programming this particular programming language. And they couldn't find anybody for the price they were looking to pay. So my project leader, I think his salary went up from about 14,000 to 24,000 overnight, because that was the going rate for a project leader, at which point it opened up the payroll to employ someone for 16 to 18,000 as a programmer, which was the going rate for a programmer. But yeah, they tried to save money. They figured out that they weren't going to get away with it, and so had to follow market trends. And we ended up with some very, very, very good programmers. We ended up with one of the best teams I've ever worked with. We had a task to do. One of the project leaders had fully spec'd it out, and they called in Mr. IBM to discuss disk storage requirements and processing capacity requirements. And he looked at the project and he's like, so when do you expect to have this in? It's sort of, oh, by April, because that's the end of the company year, and we need to have it in for next financial year. And he said, there's no way you're going to get all this done. How many programmers have you got? And they told him, and he said, yeah, no, expect to have your dreams shattered. We got the entire thing in the day it was supposed to be in. And it went from there, but excellent team. I've worked with some really bad teams as well, but shortly after that, some of the programmers started looking around and saying, you know what, I can do better elsewhere, I'm leaving. And so we probably lost half that team over the course of the next year, just because they realised, we are that good, and we can get a far better salary out of a company that actually pays their programmers a decent salary. here. Definitely looking like we're going to get this done. Don't know if I want to get the case and just seed this field manually, or set that off on a worker, and then I will go spray the fields. Yeah. We'll think about that. It's looking quite hopeful that this will not run out. Couple of gaps, not too shabby. If I go from here straight across, that should give me a straight edge. Nice. And I think we'll just run up and down the field again a few more times. Now this ends straight. Should be easy enough to fill in the rest of it. I'm just trying to finagle it so that I don't have... I can pass from one end of the field to the other on unlimed ground. Yeah, as far as local farming's concerned, we've had a lot of rain lately. So a lot of our stuff is quite significantly grown. Soybeans and corn is most of it around here. I think they say knee-high by the 4th of July. It kind of looks like in some places it's probably hip-high. It's not been wet enough to drown the corn, but it has been wet enough to give it a good start. Okay. Down to 38% of the tank. That's fine. Oh, the other thing I could check is what contracts are out there. I could go and pull in a contract for part of today and bolster the bank balance so that we can not have to worry too much about getting farm tasks done and running out of money. Because that is a little bit of a worry today, I think. So kids went up to see Grandma this weekend, so we don't have them around for this weekend. I think next weekend, I think Teenage Osa's off to a teen camp. So we will have the smaller kids around, but she won't be here. So it may be a fairly peaceful day, weekend. And then Mrs. Osa is considering taking the kids down to Ohio sort of end of July, beginning of August. So she sort of penciled in a date. She didn't tell me the exact one. I don't have any vacation left, so not something I'll be attending, but I think it may be around 29th of July through 3rd, 4th of August. Because they like to go down there. There's an Amish farm that you can go and feed the animals. They like to do that. Well, they like to drive around close to the animals. They're not so keen on getting drooled on while they feed animals. But it's a good thing. And they get to visit with Mrs. Osa's dad. He doesn't have any animals anymore. He used to have a big old, just big dog and a couple of cats which were quite mean. But, they all died. I think the cats were his wife's, but she died a couple of years ago, I believe. And yeah, that's kind of where the plans are at the moment. I might be able to go to the family reunion at the end of August. It really depends on what day that vacation starts and when my second half of the year vacation accrues, because my vacation accrues approximately the week Mrs. Osa's intending to go, but if she leaves 2 days early, I don't have any vacation. So we'll see what that entails. Is that a large piece of lime mist or not? I guess we'll drive over that and make sure. Yeah, it doesn't seem to mind about that bit. So, tiny little bit left, we'll get that done, we'll get this unloaded and at least get the spreader put away, even if we can't put the tractor away because I need to get other vehicles out of the shed. That is done. Let's fold that up. Okay, one field limed. Good job. Oh, I also had a contractor over to come and quote us on a number of jobs around the house. Once we know the prices of each job, we'll prioritise and decide which ones we're going to do and which ones we're not going to do. Let's go drive on the grass, why not? Oh, we also, yeah, I can't leave the planting till September 4 because obviously once we've planted we're going to need to get out there and roll it. I don't want to leave it till the last minute. Anyway, let's dump that there. And get this all cleaned off. So we can do contracts on September 4. What I don't want to be doing is jobs on my farm that can't be completed in one day. So that's all done, that's all sprayed off, that's nice and clean. Alrighty, let's drive over here and put that away.